gain weight, gain muscle mass, because as a former meth addict, I was losing a lot of weight because I was not eating for days. And so I wanted to gain weight, muscle weight. And that's really important too for like building self-image. To be strong and fit is really important for self-image, and then also obviously linked directly to mental health, obviously. So if you're exercising and you have a good diet, those are obviously paramount for mental and physical health. But yeah, to answer the question, the short version would just be implement more and more positive things. Give yourself time while you're taking away and replacing the negative things.
And you quite mentioning being diagnosed with ADHD, and it's I think it's something that again, in terms of addiction stuff there, because you are introduced to these types of drugs, and as much as they classify them as pills, but at the same time, it's in a way it's drug, and they expect you when they take you off, think that you'll be off quickly. But one thing that's realized, the fact that brain actually the brain you have familiarized the brain with these types, the brain and the body, these type pills, and when you get it, you have this different sensation. I have believed that it starts when we're young, when it comes to these mental health disorders, I would say, disorders. And I just in terms of being someone that has overcame or in the road of overcoming addiction, it's quite a strong journey, a very popular in terms of a very difficult journey in terms of that. How has your perception towards mental health and addiction have changed since you have decided to actually look at the positive direction when it comes to taking yourself, going to the gym and help mentioning?
Yeah, really great question. Because with the addiction and with my lack of discipline, I found myself in just as long of a spiral of anxiety and depression as I did substance abuse. Those are linked really closely. And I've been to psych wards twice for depression, and just kind of suicidal behaviors, a lot in large part stemming from alcohol abuse, episodes. They would all, both were tied to drinking too much, where I just kind of wanted to die. And I believe that anxiety and depression stems in large part, because I don't know much about the really clinical, really like dysfunction of the brain type depression. I know that I know more about the general anxiety disorder, for instance, is what I was diagnosed with. And really that's coming from not doing the work. And when I say the work, I'm talking about the 5 daily habits, because the 5 daily habits, early wake up, weight training, reading and reflecting, dropping all vices, and early wake up, weight training. What am I missing? I did it in the wrong order. Reading and reflecting. Why am I drawing them? But either way, so when you do the work, essentially, you're stacking wins throughout the day, small wins. So when you wake up early, it's hard. It's difficult, especially when you wake up and you're in the 4 a.m. club or earlier. That's hard to do. And when you start doing it and commit to doing it, even on days you don't want to, you have a sense of pride, good pride, but just an accomplishment of confidence. You're like, okay. And then if you go to the gym, we have some days, very few days, where you're like stoked to go to the gym. Most days it is just something that you do. You don't necessarily want to do it, but you do it anyway because you know the benefits. And even aside from the positive benefit physically and mentally, there's something about keeping your word to yourself that I believe is the most important thing. When you stop breaking promises to yourself, the world will open up in such an astounding way. And anxiety and depression has dissipated in my mind, largely due to being consistent and doing the work. So, but there's kind of a macro and micro way of looking at it. So I will still go through periods of anxiety because, it might be later in the day when I'm at a lower frequency. Yeah, it's been a while, been hours since I was in the gym. So all these positive things, they raise your frequency, from, let's say, shame and guilt being the lowest on the chart of the human emotion frequency chart. Anytime you do something positive, you increase your frequency. So anytime you do something negative, like break your word to yourself, you're going to lower your frequency. So that's why addicts a lot of times operate purely out of shame and guilt, because they've broken every promise to themselves that they wanted. They actually wanted to hold their word to themselves about. So mental health, at least in our culture, I think our society, I have nothing against capitalism and nothing against consumerism. I used to when I was younger, but then as you get older, you learn a lot more. So, but our society typically, because it is money oriented, it actually condones negative habits, sugary, poor diet of processed food, alcohol, basically everyone does drink and everyone drinks to excess in some part of their lives. And so with it being so, prevalent to lower our frequencies, it's really important to not get stuck in at that lower stage, because we as a society suffer a lot of anxiety and depression. And so I'll bring it to another. So like social media, for instance, is under a lot of pressure because kids suffer from anxiety and depression a lot. They're trying to understand themselves. However, I especially was susceptible to a lot of anxiety and depression from social media, but that was because I was not doing any work to make myself better. We criticize social media a lot for everyone showing the good, not showing the bad, the hard parts of their lives, things like that. But none of that really matters. Like if I had been doing the work all along, if I had been disciplined, if I had implemented healthy habits from an early age, and I was proud of myself, then I would love showing and sharing on social media like I do now. My main website, if anyone wants to follow me, my Instagram is Joe_Graham, GRAM_program. So the Joe Graham program. And because I'm proud of myself and my habits, I have a healthy experience with social media. I can be positive towards other people's wins, and it's not a dagger on my life that, their lives are so much better than mine, yada, yada, because I'm doing the work to better my life. So I'm actually happy with other people's successes. So long story short, anxiety and depression, at least in the general sense, I think comes from people not doing the work and not being happy with themselves, not being able to look in the mirror and be like, I love you, I'm proud of you, which is really all my program is hoping to get people to do, is put in the work, the habits to love yourself and be proud of yourself, because it's not easy, but it's very simple. It's kind of crazy that we're not taught from an early age to wake up early, exercise and eat good foods, and read positive material. It's like all of our shows, the news is horrifically negative, because that has something to do with our evolution, with threats being more. We place more importance on negative threats because they're important for survival. But it's really not that crazy to wake up early, weight train, exercise, and eat the right foods. But a lot of our mental health comes from negative things like processed foods and being undisciplined, really.
Quite lastly, it's something very important, being undisciplined. It's something that something that people have normalized, and it would be undisciplined more than to be disciplined, because I believe that it really takes a lot from a person, and really in a way it requires a person to be able to, as you said, that to love yourself and being able to be proud of yourself, and you accept who you are, and you will by any means to pursue growth, pursue peace, and pursue good mental well-being. And I just want to go back a little, and we spoke about small wins as something that we underestimate. We really underestimate small wins because we believe that they are not enough. The society has conceptualized that thing shouldn't sort of be small wins, but sort of be big ones. Whereas big ones takes time. take time and takes a lot of energy. When you come across it, you end up not celebrating it because of the sadness and not looking to take care of your mental well-being. And I would like to relate to you when it comes to that part of gym and in terms of being inconsistent. I remember earlier this year, I decided to go to the gym, and I don't know, like, you felt great of going to the gym and able to actually lift the weights, and that's not worried about anything. And it was great until I had that inconsistency, and it was hard to be consistent because of all the things that were happening. And also, I won't say that I'm not using that as an excuse, but in a way, I realized that what the power that the gym has. And at some point, I usually saw on people that go to the gym is good, and I didn't understand. And in all honesty, I didn't understand until I was able to go myself and realize that gym is good. And in a way, I'm trying to actually go back and be able to for myself to gym and also and also being able to work on myself, trying to actually use those positive affirmations with myself. And I just want to say thank you so much for being there. I really appreciate you for being there.
Yeah, sorry.
I really enjoyed the conversation.